Hi everybody, welcome to January 20th to January 26th of 2020. We're going to be pulling general messages for all the signs, but we're going to front load with astrology like I did last time. I'm going to timestamp below in the description box. If you're not interested in this part, I'm going to go through a couple of transits that are happening in the sky, and then I'm going to pull a couple of astrology tarot cards, the Black Moon Tarot, for the general messages, and then I'm going to get into each of the signs. Okay, so starting on the 20th, we have the sun entering Aquarius, guys, at 9:54 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just apply that time to wherever you are on the planet. So the sun's going to be in Aquarius from the 20th of January to the 18th of February. And during this cycle, we're going to be especially motivated by a hunger for knowledge. Knowledge, experience, originality, something different, innovation, doing things outside of the box, that box that we normally function in. It's just more important to us than doing things as we have been, or maybe how we should be, because it is Aquarius. It's really out of the box, right? We are becoming more aware in this energy of what's outdated in our lives, and we'll be pushing to find new perspectives and new approaches to ways of doing things. To just structure, think about the structure that we've been feeling, right? Under Capricorn, right? It's been like very structure. There are like class distinctions. There's a sense of order that Capricorn finds really appealing, and that we really needed, right, to get this ball rolling, but now seems to be a bit too rigid to all of us. So the freedom of self and the individual is becoming really more important to all of us right now. And we're all feeling it in different areas. I did mention the houses that we're all going to be, and I've mentioned the houses in a couple of videos now at this point, that we're all going to be working through this year. So think about what I'm saying in relation to whatever house it is, right? So if you're Cancer, everything that I'm saying, you're going to be thinking about how to do relationships differently. If you're Virgo in your fifth house, you're going to be thinking about your hobbies and things that you do for fun differently, and you're going to be looking at your relationship with your children differently, right? It depends on where this is placed. Okay. And I'm just going to keep talking about it probably for the rest of the year. So, but it's really about us striving to free ourselves from some restrictions and inhibitions and limitations that just feel really, really constraining rather than safe. Because for a minute it felt safe, but now it's not safe anymore, And then on the 24th, we have the new moon. New moon in Aquarius, 4:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the new moon in Aquarius marks the beginning of a new cycle for sure. The Capricorn new moon cycle ends, and this new moon cycle begins. And in Aquarius, it's friendship, group activities, socials pursuit, any sort of group gatherings, projects, trying something new, joining a new group, any sort of humanitarian effort actually even falls under this, but all of these things are going to be more of a focus than they have been. So there are new beginnings regarding any of these areas, right? Just really getting out there and getting involved in stuff. And this is a time during which we should solve problems that require thinking outside of the boxes, as I've been talking about. Really look to the future with a brand new positive and hopeful vision. Brainstorm, socialize, just focus on how things are going to be just moving forward, and expressing platonic love for those around us, and giving our emotions and our passions a break as we develop more objectivity and some detachment from past hurts and past haunts, and just connecting with friends, guys. Like seriously, if you don't have friends, then it could be your family, it could be your colleagues, but it's really embracing friends, family, neighbors, any group activity, anything like that really can be focused on here in such a beautiful way, right? So reaching out to people in your social circle, reaching out to your tribe, and just like recognizing here the value of those friendships and those networks. And also, though, recognize at some level, guys, these people are kind of like your ticket out of, I'm going to call it stage one. I'm going to call January stage one. It's month one, it's stage one of this new shift into this new life, into this new cycle. And I know we've all been feeling it. Oh my gosh, right? It's been big. It's been big. Obviously, depending on where it's hitting you, it's going to be a little more ground shaking than for others, but you definitely want to be looking at your rising sign for this one, guys, for sure. Absolutely. All right. But these friends and family members and our group are going to be helping us to be able to have a sense of detachment from whatever is challenging us to break away from, because there is this breaking away, right, with Saturn and this transformation with Pluto. So we're really going to be needing to rely on our friends, our family, our hobbies, other activities to pivot our thoughts and our attentions to just give us a breather so we can start to heal and move. It's stage one. It's stage one. And with this potent Aquarius energy, we have the chance to make progressive changes in our lives. For some of us, circumstances are such that we need to pay more attention to these matters rather than divert our attention. It does depend on the placement. Now, this phase of the moon is going to be happening at 4 degrees and 22 minutes of Aquarius, affecting people born with personal planets and points at approximately 0 to 8 degrees of the fixed sign. So that would be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius most significantly. We're all going to be feeling it, but those 4 signs and those degrees are going to be feeling it really much more profoundly, okay, than anyone else. So let's pull a couple of Black Moon Tarot to get a collective message of what we have as we enter this last part. I'm calling it the last part of phase 1 here. 3rd house, okay. It's about communication, messages. This has to do with Mercury, right? So especially like Gemini and Virgo. Saturn, well, of course. Oh, Saturn, I don't know. I'm getting a little tired of you now. And it just started. Okay, so we have Saturn and we have 3rd house messages, okay? So the 3rd house messages, again, anything mercurial. So this is how you think, feel, write, communicate, anything like that. This is you needing to look at how you're communicating, assess if you're communicating effectively enough, if you are not being too harsh, if you need to change things up in the way you communicate. Now, the fact that we got the 3rd house with Saturn says that you're going to be getting in touch here in this 3rd house energy with something that's very old and outdated. Saturn does that anyway, but you're going to be getting messages, synchronistic messages coming into your life that's really going to be highlighting what really needs to go, what like literally has become like necrotic. Do you know what I mean? Like dying skin. I hate to say it like that, but it's kind of like that in a way. It takes a long time to happen, but when it happens, it just starts to like fall off, right? So this is what's really happening here. And Saturn with the truth, I mean, this says it might feel bad now, but it's going to be resolved. Saturn's the planet, it's the planet of the Reaper, the Lord of Karma. And this, it's a rainbow planet, represents what's tangible and solid in our lives. The Greeks called Saturn Kronos. So a lot of you guys might have heard Kronos and Saturn being used interchangeably. So we could thank the Greeks for that. And Kronos was the father of Zeus. And Kronos devoured his children to prevent losing his throne as the king of the gods. So Saturn in astrology is often referred to as the god who ate his own children. Isn't that lovely, right? Because of the energy of this planet seems to show no mercy. But Saturn is not exactly cruelty. It simply points out what's true and cuts away what's delusional or no longer useful in our life. So, this is definitely a time where you're going to feel challenged. We're all feeling it anyway. This is like, I'm like preaching to the choir here. You guys all know this. But it's time to make it or break it, guys, for real. I mean, the fact that this came up is important. Life may seem harsh and very restrictive right now. The truth of the matter is you're facing an enemy who may be yourself right now. And Saturn shows us that at times it's in our better interest, not to have those things we want. And that if we were to have them, it could only ultimately lead to our destruction. And that really is so true. So if this is a time for any of you where you're feeling sad, or if you're feeling hopeless, realize that it's all about the diligence and sticking to what you believe in, adhering to your goals, to what you know is right. As this is a period in your life that emphasizing toughness and work is really important. It's all about not giving up and following through, and there's so much goodness on the other side of this. So much good. So we're going to be looking at stuff that's got to go. Yep, that's what we have. And that is the astrology section, guys. Let's pull some cards. Hey, Pisces. Thank you for hanging with me. Those of you who saw the video I posted yesterday, you're not losing your mind. I had to delete it. A viewer brought to my attention that the front portion of the video was cut out. So I deleted it. When I tried to reload it, iMovie wouldn't let me. So you know what, Pisces? I think you guys just need another message. So I'm doing another reading. Very strange. I don't know what was up with that, but anyway, let's get right into this. I'm going to pull a crowning from the Wisdom of the Oracle. Then we're going to do a Celtic cross spread, and we're going to do a little bit of a more extended love read at the end for you guys, as many of you have been requesting that I do a little bit longer on the love portion. Remember, general messages, guys, don't make it try to fit. If it doesn't fit, you're going to know if it's your reading today. If not, maybe next time. No big deal. No big deal. Remember, the energies can always be vice versa. And do check for your sun, moon, rising, and Venus. Okay, what do we got? Mending. Nice. Mending. So this tells me that you've come to a place, Pisces, where forgiveness is necessary if you're to move forward. And this is separate or together, whoever this is for. If this is an intimate relationship, a friendship, a family connection, just a riff with somebody at work, but you know, you and the other person are still experiencing the effects of a hurt that's still impacting everything you do, even if you're not aware of it. So the energy needs to clear. You know, what do you have to do to bridge this gap? Because closing your heart is not the answer. You have the power to heal this wound. So ask yourself, what would love do? Is only good's going to come out of the forgiveness and the honest redressing of something, you know? And heartbreak in all forms, it doesn't matter what the connection is really, is a strange healer of souls, you know? Our grief strips away our masks, you know, the masks that we all tend to wear. And it loosens our tight hold on our separateness, you know what I mean? Like where we view ourselves as I and the world as it, you know, as other. So love allows us to see ourselves as a part of a larger scheme and really opens us up to sympathy and empathy and dependence on others in the moments when we can't hold ourselves together. And that's really important. It leads us to become one with the greater whole again, you know? Because pain and suffering, look, it's a part of life. None of us are immune to it. So you need to figure out if you can view this loss that you're feeling, or this pain, or this dissonance that you're feeling in this connection as a way back to yourself and a way back to spirit, and really let your sorrow break your heart wide open. This is a really great time to do it. You're not going to be left behind. You're loved more than you know. It's pretty incredible. And one day you're going to look back on this, whatever's on your heart that needs mending, and you're going to understand exactly why it rolled out specifically the way it did. It's amazing how that happens. It doesn't feel good while we're in it though, right? Absolutely not. So let's pull you Celtic cross spread. See what messages we get here. It's so crazy. You know, I live in New York. I don't know where you guys live, but for January, it's very warm out. It's almost 60 degrees and the birds are chirping. It's very bizarre. I don't know what's happening in the world. I know, global warming, all of that, whatever. It's just very weird. Weird. Any messages for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus? Please, any messages for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus? It's going to help them navigate life into January 2020. Messages for Pisces. Messages for Pisces. pull the cards and we'll talk. Okay. Okay. All right. Two of air. Two of airs, two of swords, moon and Libra. Cross purposes. Cross purposes with yourself or cross purposes with someone else. And this is you taking a time out to think about these two truths, these two paths. Now the swords again are truth, communication. There are two things that you're thinking about, and I'll give you a couple of examples. This is about trying to figure out, should you stay in a situation or should you leave? Some of you might be trying to decide between two people, two jobs, two impacts of a situation, thinking something through, but it's two of something. Now this could be you bumping heads with someone over how something should roll out. Others of you, this is going to just be a very internal energy where you're going to be taking the space inside of yourself to try to figure out what you should do. You know, and it's like the truth is there, but you're just really not sure. It's like almost like understanding the truth of the situation is really not even helping you out. You know, it's just really not. Because think about, what does the moon mean, right? It's the moon in Libra. Moon is the emotions. Libra is about fairness. You're trying to figure out which makes more fair, you know, which makes more sense to you. But you really trying to dig through and figure out. So it's a very pensive energy. We have the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Earth is crossing you here. So the Seven of Pentacles is a Saturn and Taurus. So many of you maybe, instead of thinking about what it is that you should be thinking about or deciding what it is that you need to decide, you might be throwing yourself into work. Some of you might be thinking about getting a new job. So part of you being across purposes, if you're resonating with as something to do with your employment, this could definitely be you trying to decide between a new path. The thing is with the Seven of Pentacles, there's a newness to it, there's a new cycle to it. It's like the Four of the World and the Three of the Trinity, having to do with something in the pentacle space, right? In the earth element. So it can have to do with money specifically and resources. So you know, starting a new business venture, some sort of new investment scheme, something like that, right? Investing in a property, something like that, where there's a beginningness to it. If this has to do with relationship, it has to do with really figuring out how to work on a connection. So some of you might be across purposes with trying to figure out how you can go into this next cycle. If you're partnered, how you guys can improve on the way you guys connect, your communication, your intimacy, how you guys how you do your relationship, right? Because that really is a pentacle energy. It's not the emotional part, right? That would be the cups, but the pragmatics is the pentacle energy. Like, do you guys talk enough? Are you intimate enough? What's your social life like? How do you vacations, any time that you spend together, that's all pentacle stuff. And there's a newness here. So some of you might be trying to figure out how to update that in your current relationship, or how to actually get back to that if you're not with somebody and you want to reconnect with them, how that would even work in the 3D. And as the crowning, we have Messenger of Earth in the reverse. So all the messenger cards in this deck indicate messages that come in pretty serendipitously from, you know, it could be like you're walking down the street and you smell something and it reminds you of somebody, or something you see online, a song you hear, something you read, any kind of message that can come in any way. And with this has to do with the earth energies. So when we're dealing with earth, we are dealing with pentacles, and it's everything that I just discussed. So it could be anything to do with money, mental, physical, or emotional connection. And what I'm getting is these messages are coming into you, Pisces, and in the reverse, it tells me that you're not allowing them to, you're not hearing the messages that are coming in. You're not accepting them. You're not open to them. You're not open to the serendipitous nature of whatever's coming in to impact your pentacle space. So whether this has to do with, something poking at you, or something that's trying to get your attention regarding your job or regarding connection with somebody. Yeah, you're not paying attention to it. So maybe somebody's reaching out to you and you're not even dealing with them, or maybe somebody is trying to present a job offer to you and you're not even dealing with them. I just get this idea that you're trying to busy yourself in other ways rather than really thinking about this Two of Air. I keep coming back to that as the foundation, where it's like, okay, what am I going to do? And you're sort of busying yourself with things. Then we have the Six of Pentacles as the foundation. And I like this. I mean, the Six of Pentacles, this is a moon in Taurus here, and this is about, again, earth energy. It's about having what you need. I mean, this is the foundation. It's simply having what you need. Now, if this has to do with a relationship, this is an indicator that you have each other's back. Now, this could simply be the foundation, something that you've established that you very much need and want in a relationship. Or this can be that you feel supported by somebody in your life. If this has to do with a job, this is you getting what you need from your job. But in a supportive way. It's a very positive energy. Very positive. Now, in the recent past here, we have the Seven of Air. Seven of Air is the Seven of Swords, right? Because the air is swords. And this is a moon in Aquarius energy. Now, those of you who've been watching me know I don't really love this energy. I love all the cards. Everything has a good vibe. And, all the archetypes, all the cards. It has its pluses and even its minuses, right, if you break it down. But this is a moon in Aquarius, right? So if you think about, the moon is this peeling back and unlayering, and Aquarius is about looking at things differently, but these kind of like boom surprises coming in, because Uranus rules Aquarius, right? So what ends up happening, though, with this boom kind of thing, the surprise with the Seven of Air, is thievery or of some kind, right? So somebody could have literally taken your money, stolen an idea, or they're stealing your words. And what I mean by that is, this typically indicates conflict. A conflict that should be pushed to air clearing, right? Except what happens in the Seven of Swords is there's a bastardizing of words, a lot of deflection and gaslighting. It's a nasty kind of argument, right? It really, really is. So, but the thing is, it's like messy. I can't explain it any better than that. It's a messy kind of conflict because there's a lot of unjust behavior here. You were not treated fairly. You were dealing with a person who was not. Now, and again, though, with these energies, it's very, very subjective, right? Because when we're dealing with swords, we're dealing with truth. So it's a matter of perception, how you saw something and how someone else saw something. And you guys were just having a battle over what's true, what's not, but it gets ugly in this energy. And it's like trying to fit a circle in a square. Nobody wins, and you're having to deal with the fallout of that. That was in your past. So right now, you Fortune's Wheel. Fortune's Wheel is all about fate and serendipitous circumstances coming together to actually push you forward. And you're in a space of not being open to this. So this is very similar to the Messenger of Earth, where you're closing yourself down to these serendipitous circumstances that contain these messages that you need to open yourself up to, that's going to help to move you forward. Now, this is going to be different for all of you. I don't know if it's that you're shut down because you're tired. You shut down because you're physically tired. You shut down because you're mentally tired, and you just like are cutting yourself off from the world, which, you know what? That's okay. Every now and then, why not? If you're trying to process something, but you're not opening yourself up in the way that you should be engaging. I just feel like in general, Because this is a big energy. The fortune wheel, it doesn't only have to do with relationship, only have to do with job. It's kind of across the board. I feel like there's a lot of serendipitous circumstances, which seem to happen to Pisces a lot, right? Because you guys just have that 12th house energy vibe. You're so intuitive, right? But you guys are shutting yourself down. And you know what? Honestly, listen, we have a five of fire, which is the 5 of wands energy. I kind of cut myself off there, but I'll explain why in a second. And this is about conflict. And this is external to you. This isn't you. This is external to you. So, and this is a battle of the wills here. There is a real battle of the wills. You know, because this is like Saturn and Leo. You know, really just being really arguing. Lots of arguing. And that's impacting you. So I feel like you're kind of closing yourself off because you just don't want to deal with the bullshit. Honestly, that's kind of what I'm feeling here. I really am. Because there's some sort of conflict. And you know what? You guys have all this activity with the Cancer Capricorn axis happening in your 11th house. So Saturn and Pluto are really going to be doing their jam in your 11th house, which has to do with, you know, your connections and, the people who you consider your tribe, your community, your people. So there's going to be a lot going on there. And I feel like a lot of you are just sort of closing yourself off from everything. But the thing is, Pisces, I mean, the energy is screaming at me here that there are serendipitous circumstances that are trying to penetrate your energy field and you are not allowing them to because you're closing yourself off. We have the Ace of Water, which, I mean, this is a Cups energy. You're fearing this, though. This is your fear. And you're fearing that you're not going to have a new cycle with a person or in a situation. You're afraid of entering this next cycle. You're afraid of this new beginning. You're afraid of a new beginning, so you're shutting yourself down. So if this is resonating as a relationship, I feel like you're afraid of you're afraid of the next cycle. You're afraid of what's next. There's an element of confusion here. And I feel like this even having to do with work. It's like you have what you need. You're focused on work. There is this growth going forward. But there's still an element of confusion for you. Because you had this discord in the past. And you kind of went into shutdown mode at that point. Yeah. I mean, that's what this is all saying. I mean, we have the 9 of Fires. This is the 9 of Wands in reverse. This is you're just being really tired. You don't want to deal. This is a moon in Sagittarius. And in reverse, this is you really evaluating how you got here. Because Sagittarius, think about the moon in Sag, what that is. I mean, moon is emotions, right? And it's the unpeeling and getting like raw with the reality of something, right? And Sagittarius is all about our belief system, right? It's our religion. It's how, we think life is supposed to work. What are relationships supposed to be like? What is career supposed to be? What does success look like? What's right for you? And the thing is, in the reverse, the wands are in reverse because what you felt passionate for at one point and you were fighting for, things just weren't working out. So now it's like you're in the space of just not even having the energy to keep fighting it anymore. I get a feeling of you guys being very emotionally tired here. I really do. I really do. And then we have the outcome is the 5 of Earth in the reverse. So the 5 of Earth is you feeling just left out of something. You feeling the sense of lack. Feeling like somebody is not supporting you. You're not getting what you need here. You're just not getting what you need. This is a Mercury and Taurus energy. So in reverse, Mercury again is about communication. Taurus has to do with earth energies, but it's also ruled by Venus. So it's like just not getting the communication that's going to make your heart happy. You know, whatever that is, you're not hearing the words that you want to hear in order to feel happy. You're not hearing what you need to hear in order to feel supported. You're just not hearing what you want to hear in order to feel like this job is right for you. And you're just not, you're feeling this sense of lack. So in the 3D, it could be that you feel like you're not getting compensated for what it is that you do properly. But I am feeling more than anything, it is this lack of connection. So I feel like something happened here and you guys are closing yourself off and you're in the space of lack. It's very deep introspective energy, Pisces, for sure. And I'm thinking that that's where the mending comes in. That's why Spirit brought that out first. Because there needs to be this mending from the 7 of air in the past, and I feel like you haven't healed from that. Where it's just simply you and somebody else did not see eye to eye and things ended up being hurtful, painful, whatever. It just ended up being this thing. And the thing is, if the 7 of air, in and of itself, having a battle over what's real, what's not, what's true, what's not, if it's handled in a way where it's like, because this is the energy that I'm about to discuss, we're definitely going to be coming across this in February, but it's like, okay, I said this, but what did you hear? Kind of energy. Do you know what I mean? Like when we argue sometimes where like, what are you kidding me? It didn't happen like that. You're crazy. Everybody thinks so. Everybody, you know, and it gets into this crazy gaslighting, really kind of raw arguing that's very painful, and Pisces don't like that, right? You guys don't like that kind of nonsense. You don't like being that way. You can be that way if you feel like backed into a corner, but it can be air clearing, but a lot of times it's just not. You know what I mean? Because to have a battle over what's real, what's not, it's everybody's subjective in their approach to things, right? You could show 4 people the same thing and walk away with 4 different perceptions. So it really should be about, all right, this is what I said. What did you hear? Because I didn't mean it like that. And then there being this air clearing kind of thing. But I'm getting that that's not what happened here. That's not what happened. So I feel like you guys right now, and it's only for a week, you're in this space of processing. You're processing something that happened, and you're really trying to figure out a way to actually assimilate everything that happened and figure out a way to heal so that you could just move forward and get started. But let's pull some energies for those of you who are open to love, in the space of love. And this is whatever comes out, guys. This is, maybe you guys are in a weird space, or you guys are in a fantastic relationship, and this whole thing had to do with a friendship, a family connection, or your job, you know? It's the way these work. So we're going to do a Whispers of Love first, and then we'll pull some Heart Oracles and some Island Time Wellness and some clarifiers. I feel like we need clarifiers with oracles because a lot of times they could be nice messages but quite general, you know, but I like them as starting points. Listen with your heart. You are listening, but you need to hear with a loving heart. So it's kind of like what I was talking about with the 7 of Swords energy. You know what I mean? Where it's like you're listening, you're listening to somebody, but you're not really hearing them. And I'm not saying you. I mean, you could have had this experience with somebody else. But a lot of times that's what those arguments are. It's very difficult when you're in like a heated state of emotion to argue in a healthy way. You know what I mean? We're not robots. It's very hard. Like we can know in our calm moments, yes, you know, you want to argue towards healing and, you know, you want to stay calm. And ideally it's good to have any sort of discussion or even an argument, you know, sitting there looking at each other face to face, you know, with close proximity. It's very hard to do that, right? Though, when we're in a very emotional space. Okay, all right. Embrace. Through each other, you find the missing pieces. Sacred union. Honor and treasure your relationship, for it's truly sacred. I actually feel like this might have come out in the first one. I usually just forget the readings as soon as I do them, they fall out of my head. Then we have transformation. Your relationship with one another is about to deepen. Love conquers and transforms all things. Ooh. Well, that's beautiful. So that's very important then to listen with your heart. Listen with your heart. Again, it's not easy. It's not easy. And as I always say in these readings, guys, if you are in no contact and you're missing somebody, but you know that they are all kinds of just very bad for you in every single way, where they cheated, they took money from you, they were highly disrespectful of you, anything like that, leave it in the past, leave it in the past. Just because 2020 is all about evolving and transforming into a space for our higher good and a place where we feel peace, Not to say that it's anyone's fault that peace isn't happening. Maybe you can transform the situation that hasn't been very peaceful and figure out a new way of doing the relationship so that it can be that way if you guys really love each other, and recognizing how much has been maybe based in fear or based on codependent behavior, if that might be something you might be dealing with. Okay, so these are two interesting energies here. We have the runner, which is the runner in a codependent relationship. Fear of intimacy. Listening to ego. Then we have girl with a snake. Empath and narcissist paradigm. I mean, this is kind of the same, right? Because when we have this, it's kind of, these are very similar energies. Empath and narcissist paradigm. Being charmed or used, enabling boundaries. Enabling rather, and then boundaries as in boundary issues. And then we have coffee cup, meeting and conversing, savoring the moment, feeling uplifted, friendship. Well, we need clarifiers for those. So, I mean, Pisces, if you're resonating with this and the spread resonated with you for the Celtic Cross, resonated with you for relationship, that is definitely, that Seven of Swords that I was talking about, kind of arguing, is 100% something that happens in any sort of codependent relationship and empath and narcissist paradigm. And it doesn't have to be narcissistic personality disorder. You guys know there are 9 qualities that are involved in narcissistic traits, right? There are 9. You need 5 of them to have the disorder, 5 out of the 9. So, but if you have 3, it's still an issue. It doesn't mean that anybody's crazy or anybody's malicious or anything like that. It just makes them human, and that might be their cross to bear, having to work through those low vibrational, qualities in their personality. But I always feel, these oracles are like very subjective. Like, you might feel like you were used. You might feel like you were enabling somebody to get away with something. You may have just been feeling it, inside yourself. But there is this meeting and conversing, savoring the moment, feeling uplifted, friendship. So, and then we have the transformation. So let's see what we got. Let's get the narrative for this. The Emperor. 6 of Cups reversed. There's a missing. Then we have the Lover's card. Okay. Yep. Okay. So let's read this first line here. So as the Emperor, right? This is a Venus energy, first of all. I'm sorry, this is an Aries energy. What am I talking about, Venus? This is an Aries energy, so some of you might be dealing with an Aries. But this is about being like large and in charge, Very, very much you're in this space of feeling like you know what you want. You know what you want, Pisces. There's no question. The thing is, you know what you want, but you don't know how to make it happen. And that's the challenge. It's like you have this whole sort of landscape set up, but you can't seem to find the right players to play with you, you know, in that. And you're missing. There's deep nostalgia here for your past. Absolutely. But you want to make sure that you're not putting those rose-colored glasses on and glorifying something in the rearview mirror that wasn't so hot in the first place. Otherwise, why is it in your past? Why are they in your past then? Do you know what I mean? That's just something that you have to be mindful of. In other words, there's a missing here, there's a nostalgia, and the Six of Cups is the card of reconnection. But you want to make sure that you're not forgetting what happened the last time, because that needs redressing. That needs redressing. Absolutely. You know, but then we have the Lover's card, and I like that. See, normally just alone the Six of Cups energy, I would say it's in the past, keep it in the past. You're really glorifying it in the rearview mirror, and it's meant to stay in the past. But when it's next to the Lover's card, I don't feel like that, because the Lover's energy is very much about working out the conflict. The clouds are the conflict, recognizing that things are not perfect, that there are issues at hand that need to be worked out, and it's done with the blessing of Archangel Raphael and the luminary of the sun. So this is a very healthy energy. Right? So there is possibility here for you guys to transform things, but then we have the King of Cups energy, and this is still about you or somebody else being very closed off. Very closed off. And the reason that there's this closing off is because, you know, either you or the other person, right, at this point it could go either way, feel that you guys are not going to be able to build together, because that's the Architect card, right? But at the same time, you're not moving forward. You're having a hard time putting the pieces together and actually taking that step forward. But you do know that you just don't have the gumption left in you to fight for this anymore. You just really don't, because you just don't feel like you're going to get what you need at the end of the day. You just don't feel like it. It's not going to happen. I mean, you can feel, this is an Aries and Taurus energy. So some of you guys might feel like somebody's being manipulative with you as far as connection goes. Mental, physical, emotional manipulation. Somehow manipulative with money. So there could just be this sort of manipulation going on that was really getting in the way of you feeling like this could ever work out, you know? But you have the energy of the Lovers. You're not moving on in your energy field. There is this holding back, but not a moving forward. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the Ten of Cups in reverse just indicates that this is like a not yet energy. This is still very positive, but this just means that something needs addressing or redressing before you guys can move into this happy space, this happy emotional space. And this typically has to do with something external to you guys. So, for example, an issue with family, an issue with friends, right? That's impacting the relationship. This could have to do with one of you guys needing to leave a job before you guys can have this connection. Somebody's divorce finalizing. You know, it's like this thing that's external to you guys that's been an issue here, right? So we have the Knight of Swords in the reverse, right? Swords are words and connection in the reverse. And then we have the Queen of Cups. So this tells me that there's kind of like a little bit of a shutdown mode here until this thing is addressed. But once this thing is addressed here, you guys are going to have the Ten of Pentacles energy. So you have so many possibilities here. I feel like, I feel like something needs to be dealt with. Either a third party situation kind of thing, something to do with family, something to do with friends, something to do with that. You know, something to do with that. I just feel like that's definitely going to be necessary. You know, ultimately, and you know that. Yeah. I mean, you're just you're in the pause situation. You're thinking back to the past. You're not really in touch with your intuition right now, though. But that's, you know, it's kind of like not everything is totally clear to you at this point. And that's okay. Because you have the Sun. The Sun is the final outcome. So I feel like once this thing is dealt with, you do have energy here for there to be a transformation within this connection. Absolutely. But this thing needs to be addressed. And these energies, this runner and this girl with the snake, needs to be addressed as well. I mean, any sort of fear of intimacy, any sort of boundary issues, anything like that that could have been communicated healthier, wasn't. And so now maybe you have to have that conversation about communication and what you guys actually want out of this relationship. And what do you expect? And how do you expect to be treated? And if you felt that level of disrespect and that lack of justice, talk about that. Talk about it. Yeah. Pisces, that's what I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.